the occult community all have origin stories. Mine is no stranger than most, though I did get an early start thanks to a steady diet of comic books, horror movies, and ghost stories around countless campfires, both real and proverbial. My foray into magical practice came after a thirst for hunting monsters, boogeymen, spirits, and fairies and the like. It was initiated by my belief that those things were real and that if I was going to interact with them, I needed the sort of protection that only magic could afford. My first book on the magical world was Unseen Forces by Manly Palmer Hall. It had been my great-grandmother's. Through it, I learned that magic was real, as were all manner of elemental creatures and spirits. I was 8 years old. I'd never been beholden to my Christian upbringing, and it was shortly after reading this book that I began exploring the gods of Germanic heathenry, and it seemed natural to me that the gods of my ancestors were more salient to my ambitions, especially if I were to pursue the esoteric as a matter of course. When you're young, especially in the rural Indiana of the early 1970s, a magical education was not easy to come by. But I managed, thanks in large part to the sparse collection of books in the public library, such as the works of Sybil Leek, Richard Cavendish, Gerald Gardner, Arthur Edward Waite. But it was later, I think probably Francis King's Techniques of High Magic that really opened doors for me. It exposed me to a deeper, richer understanding. It was a struggle, though, which brings me, I guess, to the subject of today's video. One of my biggest struggles for years was the very nature of the magical workings I was able to get my hands on. Most of it, variations on ceremonial magic, was so rigid, never mind overwhelmingly influenced by Christianity. Though I did the work, it felt wrong, and if there's a lesson I might impart after more than 40 odd years, it's that magic is real and it's personal. All those books, all that study, the lesson that came the slowest to me was that magic was not the rituals in these books. Magic's not a set of formulas and equations to be memorized and recreated verbatim. Oh, it works quite well if you do, but you don't have to adhere to any of it. While it's true that there are some laws and protocols required to interact with preternatural intelligences, the actual art of magic is just that. It's an art. Yes, it can be approached like science and with incredible results, but magic can be so much more through embracing your own creativity. Do the work. Learn the etiquette. But just once you got a handle on it, make your own rules. Make your own magic. Do it by trial and error. As an occult detective, you have to be sort of a jack of all trades. It pays to be knowledgeable in a wide variety of traditions. You have to be able to differentiate between Santeria and hoodoo and various folk magics, and you get the idea. You need to be able to discern from ceremonial magic to all the varying degrees of left-hand path work from all sides of the magical coin, and as many religions as you can squeeze into the gray matter between your ears. And once you muddy the waters with all the self-styled combinations that solitaries or isolated groups might cook up and cobble together, well, and as an investigator's work, it's never boring. You can say that. Paranormal investigators often enter into situations that they're just ill-equipped to handle. They may be atheist, agnostic, Christian, pagan, what have you, but the crux of the situation is, if you go into an investigation closed-minded, you're liable to set yourself up for a world of hurt. It really does pay to do your homework. You can have the sanctity of your own faith or magical practice. Nobody's telling you can't, but you need to be open to the many and varied paths that are out there. Sometimes you have to fight fire with fire. Sun Tzu, he said, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. Do the work, and you'll have results. It's that simple. But it needs to come from yourself, and that's all I'm saying. This video marks my 100th on this YouTube channel. I appreciate you coming by and checking it out and taking part, and here's to 100 more.